Hello, hello, CraftingMantis here, and welcome back to another episode of Vegetarian Hardcore. So in the last episode, we ended up taking on the Nether Fortress, primarily to get ready to actually create an XP farm out of a blaze spawner, which, oh my gosh, I am so not looking forward to this at all. Now, in between the two episodes, I did end up going over to the blaze spawner so that I could light everything up and try to get the blazes to stop spawning. Now, this was definitely a rather interesting experience, to say the least, because, well, for one, I mean, it's a blaze spawner, so I had blazes spawning. But then, yeah, a ghast decided to spawn, and yeah. I lost some of the glowstone that I was trying to put to prevent the blazes from spawning, and yeah, finally was able to take that out in order to continue working on lighting it all up. So I think now I have it all lit up so that we can actually build without having any issues of the blazes spawning. Now, the thing is that this is another fortress, which means that there's other spawns, such as skeletons and the infamous wither skeletons. So as I was, kind of getting everything ready for, for this, I had 3 wither skellies that decided to spawn right around where, the spawner. And the first 2 dropped, the typical coal and the, bones and stuff. Well, the third one dropped a skull. So we officially have our first wither skeleton skull, which is exciting. And so I ended up getting the advancement for that achievement. Advancement. I can never remember which one. One is for for like Xbox and stuff, and the other one is for Java. So that, yeah, we'll just go with it. Yeah, and then in addition to, getting the advancement for that, I ended up getting the advancement for picking up lava. I thought I had already picked it up, and so I went and I got some lava for this lovely project, and yeah, got the advancement. I'm like, no, not again, because in addition to that, I was like, oh, I'm going to go brew some potions, and completely forgot that I never did it on camera, and yeah, wasn't even recording, because at that time I was just kind of, playing around the base, and was, just kind of, grinding out some of the stuff, like, smelting glass. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this. And so, granted, I did get a screenshot, but yeah, I didn't actually catch that on camera because, yeah, I did think, I'm like, okay, I'm nice and safe in here. I don't need to worry about this. And yeah. Silly Mantis. So yeah, so we've got, in between the episodes, we ended up getting three advancements. Yeah, so local brewery, we got the spooky, scary skeleton for the wither skeleton skull. And I think Hot Topic is the one for the lava. So yeah, lots of stuff happened. So now the next step is for us to actually go into the nether and actually build this lovely thing. And so I figured that just like I did with the lighting up of the blaze farm, I would go ahead and do a little time lapse. This time we'll actually use music instead of the voiceover. And yeah, and so let's go ahead and get into the nether and get to work.
Skin, you can see it beat, intoxicating your energy. First time in so long you felt the heat, evaporating your bindings. Move like the sunlight, darkness can't hold you here. Bold and bright, push through the atmosphere. This is your dawn, this is your break. Move like the sunlight, darkness can't hold you. Like I know the sadness that cripples you. It comes in waves and out of the blue. But there are days you feel freedom too. Bask in the glorious lightning. Move like the sunlight. Darkness can't hold you here. Bold and bright, push through the atmosphere. This is your dawn, this is your break. Move like the, move like the, move like the sunlight. Darkness can't hold you here. Bold and bright, push through the atmosphere. This is your dawn, this is your break. Move like the, move like the. Move like the, move like the. Move like the, move like the. Radiate, radiate, radiate. Gravitate, gravitate, gravitate. Innovate, innovate, innovate. Move like the
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that time lapse. It was probably the most nerve-wracking 30 minutes that I spent in Minecraft, other than trying to build farms in the end. Oh my gosh. And you guys probably saw at the very beginning when I was building this, you know, with the glass on the bottom, and the gas came. Well, when I was fighting the gas, I ended up hitting a pigment, and the pigment kept coming, and oh my gosh. Yeah, this was not... This was definitely... Yeah, see, like, that right there. That right there. I don't know if I can get him. Can I get him? Yes! Ha ha! But yeah, those guys, they kept spawning, and yeah, it is frustrating. The gas are definitely the bane of my existence. I mean, yeah, I'm definitely really happy we've got this all in place, and you guys may notice it looks a little bit different than what it did in the actual time lapse, and that's because, yeah, there was actually another clip recorded between that and this, and come to find out, yeah, slight technical difficulties. Yeah, I might have forgotten to turn the mic on. So, that's all right. We will get it. We will get a new clip recorded, which is what we are doing right now. But yeah, so this farm right here, I've never built a blaze farm before, and so it was one of those, I wasn't sure what kind of farm to. Oh, really? It's like, oh, I'm gonna shoot you and then I'm gonna despawn. Okay. But I wasn't sure what kind of farm to use, and I'm not sure who to actually credit for the farm, because this particular, the way that it's set up, I've seen so many people use this kind of farm. The only difference is how they have the actual, killing chamber set up down below. Now, the tutorial that I was using was by Psiloncraft, and these particles, oh my gosh. The fire resistance, all these particles, very distracting. But yeah, the one that I used was Psiloncraft, and I'll have that linked in the description. And it was, it was really easy to follow, and so I got this all set up. Now, if we come over here, this is actually goes all the way up to where the portal is, and so I have full access to that. In fact, before any more of these guys decide to spawn and start firing at me, let's go ahead and do that. And also, let's go music and sounds. Let's turn the hostile creatures down, because these guys are so loud. But yeah, so you basically just come down here, and you've got the killing chamber and stuff down here. Really easy. And I changed it up a bit. Originally, they had the chest here, but I was like, okay, do you know what? We're going to put it down here, because I sat here for, I think it was about 4 hours, and just kept killing him and killing him and killing him. That way I could work on gear. And I'll show you guys the gear I created. Minus a hoe. I ended up taking the hoe out of my inventory. And it is back at the base. But I kept going and going and going. And well, the sword that I was using, the Almighty Smiter, which is again back at base, it had looting 3. And so, yeah. I am not going to run out of blaze rods anytime soon. So that was from about 4 hours, and so granted, it wasn't all, killing them and stuff, because some of it was, okay, well, I went back to base, I had to go get something, and it was, also to set this stuff up here. So, like, I've got the extra diamond gear up here, I've got an extra silk touch book, and then some lapis, and then these don't have anything in it, and then this is a level 30 enchantment table. And then we've got an anvil, which I've already had to replace, and then the grindstone, that way in case I get something I don't like. And then these are just for, for general storage, in particular for the blaze rods, especially if I have to come here. If, I'm getting a whole bunch of blaze rods, then that way I actually have someplace to put it. But that definitely gives me a huge source of fuel too. So that's gonna be huge in and of itself, just actually having the fuel source. Because that means that as I'm trying to heal up my weapons and my gear from, the many projects that we have coming up, then I'll be getting all kinds of fuel that I can then use to, like, smelt up the stone and the glass and stuff that, that we'll need for the building projects over in the overworld. And the great thing about this, too, I don't have to worry about loading the chunks and possibly putting my villagers in danger, which is phenomenal. I am really, really happy about that. Now, let's go ahead and take a look. So I went through and, like I said, 4 hours. And just so that I could try to get some, like, really good gear, because I don't want to do anything like the N or really tall building until I have, some decent gear, especially since I don't have an elytra. So we have the antennae protector. So this is, I was able to get everything up to the max and get everything set up. So we got the aqua affinity, the fire protection, unbreaking, respiration, and mending. And oh my gosh, one of the things I forgot to tell you guys is that my mending villager, so the first one was, I think, 28 emeralds, I think, for mending. Well, the second trade is mending for 10. So it works out really well. And so I was actually able to, as I was getting the mending for some of these, I leveled him up and he had the mending trade. And so it was like, oh my gosh, yay. So we now have mending that without any issues. Granted, we shouldn't need all that much other than potentially extra gear, because I usually end up making, I think, probably about 3 silk touches, 3 fortune, 3 picks, 2 of the axes, and then probably 2 or 3 of the shovels, just so that with big projects and stuff I have those. But let's go ahead and go through the rest. So this is just protection and unbreaking. So we got the thorax exoskeleton, the leg exoskeleton, and we've got the tarsus protectors. So, and that's got the protection, the unbreaking, the depth strider, and the feather falling. So feather falling was an absolute must on this. So I'm really, really happy about that one. And then down here, we've got the grass getter, which is, maxed out for, silk touch shovel. And then we've got the sapling getter. So this is a fortune 3 hoe. And then I've got a silk touch hoe back at the base. We've got the book saver. So this is the one in order to get the bookcases back instead of, breaking them into books. And then we've got diamonds for the fortune 3, stone for the silk touch, and then my monster hunter, which is my sharpness 5. So the other one was smite 4. So that's why it was the almighty smiter. But yeah, so this is basically what I have been doing, because I ended up getting done with the build while, I still couldn't record anything. So I'm like, oh, do you know what? Well, I'll go ahead and take this time and I'll just sit here and I'll just grind out a whole bunch of stuff. And at one point, as I was building, because I was doing this while I was building up the room down here, and I think I had gotten up to like level 51. It was absolutely ludicrous, but it makes me extremely happy, because that means we now have a source of XP, and we can end up, and I find it really funny how it's like, oh, okay, go do it, and we go up, and we go down, and we go up. Sorry, simple things. Simple things that abuse Mantis. The blazes following her up and down the ladder. But yeah, so that is, we can actually get into some major projects to where, we can actually go out and not have to worry about losing our gear, which is absolutely phenomenal. So I don't have to worry about having, a whole bunch of diamonds on hand or a whole bunch of levels in order to repair gear. We can just end up coming over here to, the Blaze Farm and get everything healed up and all of that, which is super fantastic and makes me, definitely makes me feel a lot more comfortable in this world. And yeah, and being able to kind of move forward and stuff without any kind of hiccups potentially. knock on wood. Okay, knock on wood. I'll have to knock on wood in game. I don't have any wood around me right now. But yeah, so that will do it for this episode. So we now have a Blaze Farm. So we have XP and fuel. Definitely was very, very worried going into this episode because I wasn't sure if this was going to spell the end of this. I didn't want it to be the end because I'm having way too much fun on this world. I really am. but oh my gosh, nice. But yeah, so I was a little worried that this might spell the end for the Mantis hardcore, but we've taken on a Blaze spawner, which is absolutely phenomenal. So I definitely hope that you guys have enjoyed this episode. And oh, I forgot. In the other clip, I ended up telling you guys about the skeleton skulls. So I'm gonna end up putting the skeleton skulls up here above. So once we have 3, then we can, potentially take on the Wither. Though I would feel more comfortable taking on the Wither after we take on the dragon, because then, it's a really easy killing chamber for that, because Mantis does not do a Wither on the loose, because that has a tendency to destroy way more stuff than I want it to. But yeah, so I definitely hope that you guys have enjoyed this episode, and if you did, definitely hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, click the Mantis icon to subscribe, then hit the bell button to get notified when I put out additional content. Want to check out more of my videos? Try the one on the left, or you could check out the playlist on the right. That's it for now, but I'll see you guys in the next episode.